how to sit with someone in crisis. It may sound intimidating or nerve wracking to someone who isn't used to the idea of being around someone in crisis. But the reality is that the method that we use, the sit method, is actually a method that we can use every day and we can practice with friends, coworkers, family members. Because really, what this is focused on is to slow down, create stability, to have intentional conversations, and then to transition to next steps. So, to give you an example of how you can do this, I want to share with you about a recent experience I had. I was in Colombia at a wellness festival when I got a message in the middle of the night from a woman who simply said, "Are you awake? I'm not okay. I could really use a hug right now." Now, I had no idea what was going on, and I had only known her for a little over 24 hours. But I immediately messaged her back and just asked where she was. And then I headed over to her room to connect with her. When I arrived, she was in full blown crisis. And this is where I can say I'm so grateful that I'm the person that she reached out to and that I was prepared to navigate that situation. And so I simply went in with her and I held her. So she had asked for the hug. So I knew that embrace was important to her and I simply held her. And I was focused on creating stability. One of the things that we can do when we're trying to create stability is simply project our energy, our attention, not on what is the problem, not on what is wrong and how do I fix this, but simply on sending love to the person that you're with. And so as I held her and we moved over to the bed in her room and we sat down on that bed, and as I held her, I simply said, inside my own head, just thinking it, was feel my love. Feel my love. That's what I kept repeating over and over again. And I just let her talk. I let her cry. And then it was a matter of moving into intentional conversation, checking in, trying to understand what was going on without trying to fix it, without trying to assess anything more than the fact that in that moment, what she needed was to know that she wasn't alone and that she was worthy of love. And so I continued to hold her. I would occasionally ask some questions. Now, here's the thing about intentional conversations, this actually goes beyond active listening. This isn't simply listening and repeating what you hear. This is about having meaningful, intentional, in the moment dialogue where you yourself are vulnerable, where you validate what they're feeling. Even if you don't fully understand what they're feeling, you can recognize the pain that they are in. And sometimes that's all they need is for someone to validate and recognize the pain that they're in. Now, as you're having this intentional conversation, if it feels appropriate, laugh, relax, right? The thing that we want people to understand is that we are complex beings and that we can feel multiple things at one time. And so I let her know as we were talking, because at one point she did laugh about something. And I just reminded her, this is good. And that laughing doesn't mean that she didn't feel the depth of the pain that she was in. And I gave her permission. I said, you have my permission to feel whatever you need to feel right now. And then I simply stayed with her. I stayed with her and we just talked, going back and forth about different things, sharing different experiences. Not once did I say, yes, I know how that feels. But I did say, I've had a similar experience. Was it like this? And really just we just connected in a really beautiful, meaning way. And then it was about transitioning the next steps, because I got to her room about 3 o'clock in the morning and it was now 5, and we were going to have a full day of events going on. And the beautiful thing was I trusted that she was in a safe space. I could feel her energy. I listened to my intuition and I simply talked through our next steps are for both of us to get some sleep. I asked her if she felt safe for me to leave her alone, if I should stay in her room with her to rest, or if I was okay to go back to my room and get some rest, and that we would meet back up around 9 o'clock, right? So so we did that. She agreed that she felt stable, she felt calm, and she was comfortable with me leaving. Had she not been, I would have stayed and we would have just slept there in the same space. But I also, during that time, not once did I rush to bring someone else into the situation. We did talk about people that we could bring in that might be beneficial for her. And as I left to go to my room and separate, we did identify people that she could reach out to throughout the day if she felt comfortable. And that's exactly what we did. Is when we reconnected a few hours later, we reached out to a few different people that could support her in different ways using various modalities of healing to just help her get grounded and to feel centered. We were in a very intense environment where there was a lot of personal growth going on, and just a lot of emotion, and it was a lot for her. And so that is just an example, one example, understanding every situation is different. Every person is different. So practicing this during everyday conversations of having that awareness of being a source of stability for yourself and for those around you, having those intentional conversations, getting comfortable being vulnerable, getting comfortable being real, and dialoguing back and forth, and then transitioning to what are we doing next? How do we want to move forward? And when you're in a situation where there's ongoing issues and you're not really sure what to do, what's causing this, I encourage you, reach out to us at All That We Are, and we can share with you the human health connection, which breaks down the connection between our physical, mental, and emotional health to help you understand what's at the root cause of the challenges that you're facing. Always know that we are here to love and support and empower each of you to live your best life.